Hey everybody, in this video, we're going to talk about how to talk about sex with your husband. I'm Dr. Diane Mueller, your Libido Doc, and this is a really important conversation. In order to understand this particular topic, we need to take a step back and really look at what's the masculine brain, how the masculine brain works, how testosterone and the masculine brain works. So one of my favorite things about men is their innate desire to provide. There is something inherent in the masculine energy that is about providing for the woman they love, for the family they love. There's this huge sense of wanting to give this. This is one reason why men can get very excited and almost like obsessed sometimes about giving a woman an orgasm, is because they want to provide, they want to feel this sense of providing this pleasure, of being this person that can provide pleasure like nobody else can. So when it comes to talking to your husband about sex, one of the first things to understand is protecting this ego, right? We all have this ego, and this ego, when we're talking about difficult things, can sometimes feel very wounded. And so if they feel in the conversation like they are not providing this thing that they want to provide for you, this pleasure, and it's not going well and they're failing at this, it's not just about sex. Oftentimes it can be deeper than that. It can be that this capacity for them to truly provide for you and provide pleasure and enjoyment and everything else that sex can actually give, that is sometimes called into question on a subconscious level. So one of the things that I really encourage you when you are talking to your husband about sex is to, first of all, make sure you are aware of this. Make sure that the way that you are framing this is really being sensitive to this particular need. Now, one of the things to consider with this is when to talk about this. So let's start there. So if you've just got done with an amazing lovemaking session and both of you are feeling wonderful, sometimes talking as soon as that those feelings die down and the orgasmic bliss and the connection and the cuddling, as soon as that's calmed down, sometimes the bedroom can be an okay place to talk about this. But what I encourage you not to do is, say there's a situation where, okay, erectile dysfunction, things did not work as well, things got cut off, there's already a lot of feelings that are not positive about the sexual experience. In that scenario, do not talk about it right then, right? There's already an ego bruising. Typically, there's a sense of not being able to provide that the man is also oftentimes feeling. So we want to make sure that we are not talking about it in those moments, because oftentimes it will not go well. Trust me, I have learned my own ways. I've learned in the people life coach. We really want to think about the timing of this really matters, because there's so much wrapped up in this, and because we really want them to feel the sense of all the things that they are providing for us. So wherever you have this conversation, if it is after a really positive experience, or if it's later down the road, not in the bedroom after a subpar experience, the way to oftentimes approach this is by first really giving specific examples about what you love about your sex life. So before you even begin this conversation, I would say if there's things that need to be improved on, start reframing in your head when you go into intimate experiences. Start kind of paying attention to what are the things that your partner is doing, what are the things that your husband's doing that you're like, oh, I love it when he does this. This feels so great, right? What are the things that you really want to encourage more of? And those are good things to start, to start with like, oh, I love it when you do this. You can even use the words, when you touch me this way, I love it. It provides such a sense of pleasure, of joy, of safety. It helps me soften. And you can use that word provide. Sometimes that can be a valuable word to use as well. really help them make the connection of all the different things that they're providing, right? And then oftentimes it works very well to ask a question. Like, I also am like wanting to explore new types of techniques and new things with you. Like, do you feel up for having that conversation? Like, I'm really loving these things and I want to explore other ways, right? You're not saying like, oh, this thing you do is bad, right? So we want to first ground in like all these things that are right, then ask permission. And then from there, once you've gotten permission, and hopefully you'll get permission. If you haven't gotten permission in that point of time, what I encourage you is to say, okay, well, when would be a good time to talk about this? I really want to talk about this. When would be a good time? And set up a time to talk. If they're not willing to talk about this and they're like, no, I'm not going to talk about this at all, that might be a reason to call in a counselor or a third party to help navigate those conversations, because that can oftentimes be a sign that the person is too closed down to have that conversation. But, I would certainly ask the question, see when a good time is. And whenever the good time is, again, start with like, these are the things that provide. And then you can launch into like, oh, well, I was thinking that instead of, doing XYZ in this way, maybe if we made this slight little tweak, can we take that thing that you're doing and can we just make a slight little tweak here and try it like this? And I would really encourage you to have this conversation in terms of like, all of these things I love, the things that you love, that you want to go deeper and deeper and have even more profound sexual experiences than you've already had. And so you just want to experiment, just ask like, can we just start having an open dialogue and experiment? And, and then here's the thing that's really important is, letting them, asking to them or telling them that they can give you feedback too. And being, able to receive that and say like, I want to be able to provide like more and more pleasure and learn more deeply and, give you new experiences and help continually enhance our sexual life to make it bigger and more beautiful and just more connected than ever before. So can you tell me more about your preferences, about what are the tweaks that you want to make, about what are the things you love? And basically, essentially, what we're trying to do with this type of communication is set up a space that feels like a safe space to talk openly, where people's ego is not going to get hurt, because we're not saying anybody's doing anything wrong, right? We're not saying we're doing anything wrong. We're acknowledging the things that are there that are positive. We're talking about all that it provides, and then we're just talking about little tweaks to make things better. So I would love if you guys, ask me any questions. Like, if you try all this, report in here what's going well, what's not, so I can help you through some of this dialogue as things come up. And please do share this information. Please don't keep me a secret. Send this around to your friends and family. Subscribe to this channel if it's helpful. And information about how to work with me and my team over at my Libido Doc is in the show notes below. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next video.